Hey, greetings everyone. Glenn Kellaway from the basement. It is November 22nd, the day before American Thanksgiving, and also the anniversary of President Kennedy's assassination. If you're my age and you were around at the time, it's still mind-blowing. That whole day was just crazy. I have vivid memories of it. I was 10 years old, grade 5. And I remember my teacher, Mrs. Kingston. I remember the principal, Mr. Crown, walking in to our classroom and going up to the front and whispering something to our teacher. And she started crying. And I can't remember what she told us or how she explained it to us, but she did say something about the president was shot or whatever. I mean, we're in Canada, so. But still, it was crazy, and it just following that on the TV all week long, like the funeral and the junior with the salute to his dad, and Oswald getting shot live on TV. I mean, to a 10-year-old kid, this was nuts. Anyway, it's you know, hearts off to her, hats off, and my heart felt love for a great man. I wanted to dust off. I'm always talking about dust collectors, Hackney diamonds. So I wanted to dust off a few that have been sitting on the shelf for a while. This one hasn't actually. I picked it up at a thrift store the other day, so I wanted to show it to you. It hasn't had an opportunity to collect dust yet. The Best of Pete Townsend. What the hell? I don't even know what that's called. So he joined a whole bunch of words together to make the name. But cool walking, small talking, smoking, something, chain smoking, something or other. But anyway, it's a comp. I don't think you could say Pete Townsend had a lot of hit records. So, but Best of Pete, I guess it doesn't say Pete's greatest hits. It's a pretty good comp. It's got all the songs that you would like. I don't have a lot of solo Pete stuff. I got Who Came First, and I've got Chinese Eyes, and I think maybe a live one or something, but not a lot. And so this has Give Blood on it, and Let My Love Open the Door, English Boys, Pure and Easy, which is absolutely incredible. Face to Face, I always loved that song. And Let My Love Open the Door. So it's pretty good comp. I picked it up for $2. Next, just stuff that I have not been listening to, and for some reason it just my memory and something just inspired me. I know this is my good friend Alex from Beer and Vinyl, who will be joining us tonight on the live chat at 8 o'clock. He's a huge fan of this band Badfinger, and we had a conversation about them a few days ago. And I pulled out my Badfinger. I only have one album, and it's the Straight Up album, which I think is considered their best album. Had their biggest hits on it. I think it's their strongest album. Baby Blue is on here, and Day After Day. They were kind of the two hit songs off of this. Very Beatle-y, but they were a great band in their own right, even though they were on Apple Records, and very inspired by that style of music, and produced by Mal Evans, I think. And I think George had a hand in it. Paul, of course, wrote Come and Get It, which was in the Magic Christian soundtrack, which was kind of their first Badfinger song. They were a band called the Ivies previous to that. But I was on a chat just on Larry Graves' channel just before I recorded this video, and I started talking about how all these were out of print, and they needed a reissue campaign. So I picked up this when it was reissued, I think in 2010, and it has some bonus tracks on it, and plus the single mixes on a couple of the singles. And it's a great album. If you're not into Badfinger and you like power pop, Beatles, stuff like that, I mean, you can't go wrong with this band. Fantastic. I want to pick up more of their stuff. That led to a conversation about Manford Man's Earth Band. Alex mentioned how big a fan he was of that band, and then I mentioned, hey, don't forget, as good as Manford Man's Earth Band was, the original Manford Man band from the British invasion '64 on is fantastic. So many great songs. I have this, the Best of Manford Man, the definitive collection. It has 26 tracks on here, and this band was great, man. Like Diddy Wah, Do Wah Diddy Diddy Dum Diddy Do was their first big hit on Capitol, over here anyway. Another great song called 54321. Sha La La, Come Tomorrow was a great song. Little Red Book's a great song. If You Gotta Go, Go Now. Just a fantastic. If you like the British Invasion stuff and you haven't checked out Manford Man, or you just haven't listened to their stuff for a while, fantastic band. Just great 60s pop, rock, whatever. Fantastic stuff. That's pretty good comp. So Manford Man. I'm going to give that a listen later today. I was just going through the shelf going, what haven't I listened to for a while? What haven't I even paid any attention to? And the one that caught my eye was this soundtrack album. One of the killer movies from the 60s. You talk about the memories of the John F. Kennedy assassination. When this movie came out, I went to see it 100 frickin' times. And in those days, you could pay your $1 or $2 or whatever it cost you to get into the show, and you could stay there all day and watch the movie repeat. No one asked you to leave the theater. If you wanted to watch it from noon to midnight, knock yourself out. This movie, Easy Rider, was a movie that I did that with, and would just sit there mesmerized. I thought these were the coolest dudes ever. Great movie. Dennis Hopper, Peter Fonda, fantastic. But the great thing about that made this movie, I think, more cool was the soundtrack. Steppenwolf, The Pusher, and Born to Be Wild. There was a version of the band's The Weight done by a band called Smith. The Byrds, Wasn't Born to Follow. Holy Modal Riders, If You Want to Be a Bird. And then a song called Don't Bogart That Joint, or Don't Bogart Me, which is just fantastic for Fraternity of Man. And Jimi Hendrix Experience, If 6 Was 9. Roger McGuinn doing Dylan's It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and Ballad of Easy Rider by Roger McGuinn. I mean, this was just a killer soundtrack. If you can find this, it's really cool. Now, I was on the Steve Hoffman forums yesterday, and I noticed a little thing people were talking about, a news story, that Daryl Hall and John Oates are involved in some kind of a legal suit. And Daryl is suing John, I think, something to do with contracts and debt. I don't, the story's not coming out, but whatever. Anyway, it just got me thinking about Daryl Hall and John Oates. And then I went on YouTube, and Daryl's house, they put up some stuff where Robert Fripp, who I'm a big King Crimson fan, was on Daryl's house. And they got a couple of clips of it. They got one of them doing Heroes, the David Bowie song, and they've got one doing Red, which is one of the great King Crimson albums. A great instrumental called Red. Check it out. So go on YouTube and plug in Daryl's Live at Daryl's house and see what comes up. There's some great stuff. So there's also some, they talk around the table on Daryl's house, and they're talking about when Robert Fripp and Daryl Hall first met in 1974. Strange bedfellows. But Robert Fripp produced Daryl Hall's album, single solo album. It's called Sacred Songs. And I believe, if I'm correct, that the record company, after this album was made, did not release this album right away. But it's a pretty good album. And Robert Fripp, at the same time, was working on his own album, which is called Exposure, which is a really good album. Even if you're not into prog rock, this is a pretty good record. And some of the songs that were going to be on this ended up on this. So they're kind of like cousins. So you should check both those out if you're interested in Hall & Oates, or you're interested in Daryl Hall, or you're interested in King Crimson or Robert Fripp. Last year, I believe it was last year, they came up with a Daryl Hall comp called Before After. Now, this is a retrospective of Daryl's whole solo career, and it is freaking great, man. I just think he has the greatest voice. My favorite singers were male singers, Ray Charles, and Daryl Hall might be a close second, man. His voice is just incredible. I'm a big Hall & Oates fan. And he's got some good solo stuff as well. There's some tracks from the Robert Fripp produced stuff on here. There's some live cuts from Daryl's house on here. And yeah, this is a pretty good comp, and it sounds really good too. Big fan of that. Um, yeah, that's all I want to show you today. I just do want to say, please, please join us tonight at 8 o'clock. We are going to pay tribute to the great Chris Prophy and the thread he's got going on, which is a Thanksgiving theme. Giving thanks by showing 5 albums that you're thankful to have in your collection. So for whatever reason you're thankful to have them, you're just thankful to have them, whether someone gifted them to you, whether it's just an album that means a lot to you for whatever reason. Myself, Rob from Northern Revolution, Sam St. John, Jason Arsenault, and Alex from Beer and Vinyl, and possibly Larry Graves if he's feeling good. And we're looking forward to chat tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Please join us, and thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think of some of these albums and stuff. Take care.